Hello everyone, this is munclesonkey here, and welcome to my Airuts slaying, or you can also just use this guide for killing Airuts off of tasks to make some money or get some XP, because they are extremely good at combat XP, as I hope to showcase during this video. So what are Airuts? They require 92 Slayer to be assigned by Slayer Masters and to kill them, and you can kill them in either Curadel's Dungeon or on the Peninsula by the Piscatoris Hunter area. Both spots have their uses, and both spots have their ups and downs. You want to use one spot with a particular combat style, another with another, but I will get into that. The profit per hour is really good, about 3 to 4 mil hour on task, and of course depending on your luck with gloves. I usually average about 3.5 mil an hour on a task with no gloves, but the gloves add another 1 point whatever it is mil on top of that if you do happen to get a pair. Also, there is a faster way to kill them than the way I kill them. I choose not to though, because I prefer melee XP, even though mage is faster, but I will be showing you guys how to kill these with mage. Slayer XP per hour is about 150k to 190k. 190k is with mage going pretty hard, 150k is with Drygors not going very hard. So these are a very good Slayer XP rate either way that you decide to do them. The charms are simply okay. You can probably get around 100 crimsons and 30 blues in an hour, which is nothing to laugh at, but it's not going to really help you on your goal of 99 or 120 summoning either. So for your gear, first of all, don't use range here. I see people using range at Airuts sometimes. That's a big mistake, as range just does not have very good accuracy. Airuts are stated as being weak to nothing, however this is not true. They have two phases. They have the melee phase where they punch you, and they have the range phase where they shoot green stuff at you, and both of these phases are weak to the combat styles you'd expect them to be weak to. If they're in the range phase, they're going to be weak to melee. If they're in the melee phase, they're going to be weak to mage. It's also very important to not attack the creature that is in the wrong phase, as it is annoying and you will have much lower accuracy against them. So overall, for the mage setup, if you're looking for fastest possible kills, tier 90 mage is required to do this. If you do not have tier 90 mage, if you just have the chaotic staff, I would recommend to go with Drygors, as you're going to have a much better experience, as Drygors are much more accurate, and you won't get completely screwed over by the Airuts switching over to range phase and just killing your accuracy, because that can happen with the chaotic staff, and it's very annoying. So for the gear, noxious staff or seismic subjugation, and your typical mage boots, gloves, all that sort of stuff. Slayer helm, I would recommend the ring of vigor with mage, as you'll be using sunshine a lot, as well as the supreme runic accuracy aura if you have it. If not, just go with penance, and with melee just go with penance, because prayer restore is very nice because you'll be taking a decent amount of damage, and bandos, Drygors work completely fine. As for the inventory, just bring your extreme set. You can overload this task as well. I would not recommend overloading very many Slayer tasks, but this is one of the few that I would be fine with you doing, because they do have very high defense. And then you want a bunch of prayer pots in your inventory to use soul split and turmoil. If you do not have turmoil, use piety, use whatever boosting prayers you have, because you're going to need the accuracy, as well as yak pouches, or if you don't have that, make sure to bring some magic note paper to note the bones, and as well as a spring cleaner, because they drop a lot of rune items, including rune plate bodies, which the spring cleaner is really good against. So you can decide to melee or mage Airuts as stated earlier. If you want to mage them, just click on the link to go ahead and skip ahead to the part where I show off maging Airuts, because if you're meleeing, you're going to be killing them in a different location. The reason for this I will explain when we get to the mage Airuts, but for the melee Airuts, you want to kill them in Curadel's Dungeon, so just Ferocious Ring teleport, or use the Fairy Ring as shown to get to the Curadel's Dungeon. Ferocious Ring is obviously a little bit faster, and if you have 90 agility, you can get over these gaps. Very easy route to the Airuts. So the general strategy of the Airuts is you want to be using threshold abilities on them. I would not recommend using Berserk on them, because if you use Berserk and then an Airuts switches to range phase, they can hit 4Ks on you and they can KO you really fast. And also those threshold abilities are going to do the majority of their HP and damage anyway, so it's not all that important to be using Berserk. If you want to risk it though, you can do Berserk. Just remember to bring some food with you if you decide to do that. You also want to have the ability Flurry on your action bar, which I'll show off exactly why you want to have that in just a second. But as you can see, I just used the Destroy and the Assault abilities to take down these Airuts really fast. Revolution works great here for Airuts. I absolutely love it. It makes this task very easy, so I'd also recommend using that. And there you can see the Airuts using its special attack, where it kind of spits the green stuff at you. This stuff can do pretty high damage. However, if you're in melee armor, it's going to have pretty decent range defense, so you won't hopefully get torn too hard. but they do drop a lot of sharks, so if it becomes a problem, it shouldn't be that big of a deal. But as you can see, when the Airut uses its special ability, you can use the melee ability Flurry. What it will do, it will stun the Airut and also will do really high damage to the Airut while it's stunned. In fact, as long as the Airut remains stunned, all melee attacks that you use against it are going to do some really high damage, but just remember, Flurry is an area of effectability, so just be careful with any other Airuts around you and make sure you don't get too many on you at once. So if the only thing that you care about is the fastest possible Airut kills and you have access to level 90 magic weapons, as well as I would really recommend that runic accuracy aura, that can help out a lot on this task, because even though you're attacking the melee Airuts, you're still going to miss sometimes because these things just have crazy high defense. So you want to go to the Piscator's hunting area, and the reason for that is because you want to be killing the Airuts when they're a little bit more spread out, because you want to be using that Dragon Breath ability. It's a very good ability. It hits really hard on the Airuts, but if you use it in Curdle's dungeon, it's going to get a lot of Airuts on you, and you will die, even if you're wearing good armor, even if you have a fair amount of food. You will eventually die from using the Dragon Breath in Curdle's dungeon. So the general strategy here is get up to Sunshine as quickly as possible, and then use that Asphyxiate and use that Wild Magic on the Airuts, use the Magic Tendrils, and you will absolutely tear through these Airuts. This can shave a full 10 minutes off the task. I'm not kidding. I actually did a task of 148 Airuts in under 30 minutes pretty recently using Mage. It's ridiculous how good it is here, and this is the way to go if you want the best XP. I ended up doing this particular task with Melee, even though it's quite a bit slower than with Mage. The thing is, with Melee, I really need that attack XP, and I don't really use Melee while PVMing hardly at all, so I need to get it from somewhere, and so I have been working towards 120 attack and strength through Slayer, and the rewards are 122k Slayer XP, which is a lot of Slayer XP in just 46 minutes if you think about it, even though it could be faster, as well as a nice 2.7 mil there, so a little bit over 3.4-ish mil per hour with Melee, which is really good. And remember, it can be even more than that with Mage if you are deciding to bank those Airut bones. So that's about all for this video. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure to check out my other Slayer guides if you have a need for them, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Farewell.